Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on when you're listening. Welcome to the 100th and final episode of bardadvice, a D&D slash TTRPG slash nerd-centric podcast wherein I, Charles Chaz Yazik, the DM, the bard, however you may know me, do my best to answer any questions that you might have in regard to that realm of things. So, got some cool things to go over this evening. Got some cool statistics to talk about later, but we'll do all of that in chat. At the top of the show, as we like to do, we'd like to remind everybody, of course, of the email for the show, which is bardadvice@gmail.com. Well, although I guess we're not really going to need that anymore, but that's the email. If you ever want to send me anything, I still do my best to check it. If you want to get some merch, you can do so over at manshorts.com, or you can go over to krakendice.com and get yourself a set of the one of the 4 limited series that we released with Kraken earlier this year. If you want to contribute to anything that I'm doing musically, you can always do so directly via PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, all of which are Yazik, YAHZICK. Also, at the top of the show, like to thank all of our members, patrons, super chatters, remind everybody to please like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, rate the podcast, join the Discord, etc. So I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that everybody had a fun, nice Christmas. And we'll talk about that stuff. But we've got some questions this evening, and we'll get into those momentarily. I did want to go over a couple of things for Art Corner. I've actually got a couple of things. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about for Art Corner was this new single by Tyler, the Creator, That Guy. Boy, howdy. I have never been like a humongous Tyler, the Creator fan, but this song is so much fun. It's really good. And man, West Coast really kind of took over hip hop this year, so that's good. So go check that out. That Guy by Tyler, the Creator. It's bars on top of a Kendrick beat. So it's so good. Some other things just for Art Corner, just to note. I wanted to recommend something that my wife really likes to watch, and I enjoy it from time to time. Both of these series, they're both on BritBox. The Father Brown and Sister Boniface. They're both just kind of like fun murder mystery theater type shows, but they're always an interesting, fun watch, especially around the holidays. So recommend checking those out. And then also 1923, which I've been finishing up, I guess, that I hadn't remembered not finishing it, but I guess that I hadn't. And it's just like one of the pieces of the whole Yellowstone story. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out as well. So those are the things that we have for Art Corner. Oh, and also before I forget, a reminder of the other show that I'm on that I will be continuing on Bartificial Intelligence. That's with my buddy Songaria. We do those on Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Songaria's YouTube channel. You're always welcome to come and hang out during those. We have a good time. We make AI music with human input, so it's always a good fun time. Just come on over and hang out over there on Sundays. Also, at the end of the show, I'm going to do kind of a reveal as to the words of the year. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers this last year, but this is a tradition that my mom and I started several years ago, wherein we each, at random, choose a word of the year. And so typically what she does is she creates a word, she creates a list of words between 1 and 20 and numbers them, and they're all kind of like virtuous type words, right? Like patience or understanding or determination, stuff like that. And so the concept is that you pick one at random and then you try to kind of live by that word for the year. My word this last year was perspective. So, which has been kind of interesting, I guess, of a journey, because my perspective on certain things has changed, I guess, or maybe at least I've gotten more input from different perspectives. But we did it this year as well, and I have the list. So that's to say, everyone now pick a number between 1 and 20. You don't have to say it in chat. You can just do it in your head. Just know what your number is between 1 and 20, what you want to pick for your word. And then at the end, we'll go through the words, and we'll see what word you got. and how you can live your life by that word for the next year. Okay, so let's get into it. We've got some questions this evening, and then we'll do a little bit of extra chat just to talk about other stuff. So let's get into it. The first question of the evening is from Mary. And Mary asks, "Hi, Chaz. So there are rumors that Sony Pictures and the Jim Henson Company are developing a new Labyrinth movie. While not confirmed, this will no doubt have fans of the original film debating online. Are you a fan of the original movie? Do you think it has a chance to be good, or is it too much of a risk? Thanks." Thank you for the question, Mary. Yeah, I mean, I like Labyrinth enough. I'm not like a huge Labyrinth fan, but it's, you know, it's one of the films that I saw, one of the more memorable films I saw as a kid, I guess, and also just in that kind of Jim Henson high fantasy type realm. So I wrote out an answer for it. I will say I am currently, right now, more than ever before, confident in a studio's potential ability to give audiences what they want when it comes to reboots and continuations of different IP. That was not always the case either. For years, studios would try to make something like an anime or a video game adaptation, and it was just trash. And, you know, it's kind of hit or miss most of the time anyway. But lately, when I considered things like Fallout, The Last of Us, the live-action One Piece, the new Beetlejuice movie was good, I thought. The Sonic movies have been really popular. So I think it is possible, and I think that a common thread with those projects is that they stuck closely to the source material. So they listened to the fans. So if Sony and Jim Henson Company listened to fans online or suggestions, then I think it's way more likely to be successful. I don't think that they should attempt to do it if Jim Henson Company isn't involved. Although I wonder if they even could. Who knows? Where the real ownership of that IP is. It's probably in the studio that produced the film. And, you know, Henson was just, the Henson Company was kind of contracted on. So, you know, I hope they're able to come to an agreement if that does happen, because I think if they're involved, then it could be okay. I think it'd be neat to see either a reimagining of the original story or just a whole new story in general. And then you can kind of fill the David Bowie character hole with somebody like Jack Black or Donald Glover, like somebody that you know is like can carry that. And then maybe one of like the newer It girls to play the female lead, like a Sydney Sweeney or a Jenna Ortega or something. So yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but overall, it's a little disappointing that it's not just like, why don't Sony and the Jim Henson Company team up to make a whole new thing? But, you know, talk about risky. You want to talk about an investment. Soulish cash grab playing off of nostalgia. Quite possibly. I mean, it's a popular move this last decade or so. Every person for tonight only by decree of me, a founding member of the Council of Chris, is a Chris, but only for tonight. Okay. I like Dark Crystal. Yeah, I was actually thinking of Dark Crystal. I'm the same. I like Dark Crystal better. I'm dubious about the remake. Always worries me about movies being rebooted because they always screw it up and ruin the magic of the original. Not every time, but a lot of times. Saying the live-action Dragon Ball movie is anything. Come on, Chris, don't do that. We all know about that. Labyrinth only worked because it was original, fresh, and witty. Yeah. Is the Labyrinth remake sequel as good, as bad as the remake of Neverending Story that was announced? I didn't know about that. But hey, honestly, those Neverending Story movies, I don't think were all that amazing. Maybe the first one. The Dark Crystal series was awesome and got canceled. It's been a disturbingly. Yeah, you know what else I saw today? A clip of, and I don't know how I missed this off my radar completely. Disney Plus made a Mighty Ducks show that has like Emilio as Gordon Bombay in there, and like I don't know who all else is in it or what it is, but I need to look into that. Disturbingly a low amount of original content lately. Yeah, and it's weird. I'm kind of torn. I feel like AI is going to be good for that, but also bad, right? It's going to allow studios to just keep cranking out the same old stuff that they know works at a faster, more efficient rate with less people getting paid. But I think AI tools will afford, just like I feel like Suno AI affords people who might not necessarily have a background or training in any kind of instrument or songwriting, it gives those people the agency and opportunity to create music. I think that's going to be the same when it comes to content. So I predict that there will be people who never even considered themselves to be storytellers who will create these awesome stories of film and television simply because they're not limited by what they're able to make. Duck Show. Oh, like the Karate Kid. Yeah, that's another one. The Cobra Kai show. That's totally a spinoff. And people, that show does numbers for Netflix. Studios are risk adverse. Remakes are less risky than original stuff, but they're also stale. Karate Kid Legends, the new movie. Oh, that's right. I did see the trailer for that. Doesn't it have, doesn't have Pat Morita in it. I think he's passed on. But it has Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. I think the power is with indie production companies. Yeah, I tend to agree with that, actually. There's a local writer in our town, Sharon Cobb, and her film, The Man in the White Van, has been screening in theaters across the country these last couple of weeks. And yeah, I mean, you don't need as much as you used to make something compelling. And with the rise of AI and more corporations embracing that, I've said this ad nauseum on this podcast, there will be, I think, a demand for original art, for human art, for independent art. So hopefully, we'll see. There are no original stories anyway. Well, that's true. What do they say? There's 7? Saw an interview with Matt Damon. Said studios used to be more adventurous in making movies because if it didn't perform well in the box, they'd make it back in DVD. That's a good point. Yeah, but couldn't you make that argument for streaming? And hasn't that happened, right? Haven't there been these properties that like maybe didn't do well in theaters but then did well in streaming? Maybe not. Love the D&D skits. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you very much for the generous donation and the kind message. Glad you enjoy them. Hope that you had a great Christmas as well. Speaking of Mighty Ducks, did anyone watch the animated one from the 90s? Yeah, the cartoon? Come on, dude. That was great. It's called Unaided Awareness. It's cheaper and easier to market something that the audience knows. Oh, yeah, well... Yeah, that is how it be sometimes. You just rest on the laurels of what they know is going to work. I mean, geez, the iPhone has been like ever so much tweaking it, and they've been through like 17 iterations. So the Shadow. Oh yeah, dude, I remember that. Alrighty, well, we got an answer in there. Who knows? I don't think that any of us can know with certainty, but I would say that you would start with listening to the audience, listening to the people who made the first movie as much of a success as it was, you know? All right. Moving on. Thank you for the question, Mary. The next question is from Chris, as you might expect. And Chris asks, "Hey, Charles, wishing the best for you and yours. Strange to think this habit of emailing once a week is quickly coming to an end. Hot cocoa. How do each of the classes take it?" So this was fun. I actually did this at work today. Typically, I don't work Fridays, but I needed to cover a shift so that my manager wasn't having to do a bunch of doubles in a row. And so I just wrote this up while I was at work, and it was a real fun exercise. So I'm going to just tell you what they all got. Barbarians take it hot and strong, maybe with a hint of chili powder for an extra kick. Bards is super elaborate, extra whip, extra marshmallows, sprinkles, caramel drizzle, etc. Cleric prefers his warm with a dash of nutmeg, served in a hefty golden mug with his deity's symbol engraved on it. Druid's is made with oat milk, sweetened with honey, and dressed with a mint leaf. Very organic. Fighter's is regular, normal hot cocoa with a few marshmallows, small spritz of whipped cream. The Monk's is very minimalist, a small amount of dark cocoa and hot water, no sweetener. Paladin's is an elevated version of hot cocoa with white chocolate shavings and a dash of vanilla. It's also in an ornate mug, probably with their holy crest on it. Ranger keeps it simple, natural, cocoa, goat's milk, lavender. Rogue's has liquor in it and extra marshmallows. The Sorcerer's is topped with edible glitter and sprinkles. Warlock's is dark cocoa with a touch of spice and more than a touch of alcohol. Wizard's is carefully and precisely measured, extra flavors like peppermint and orange zest in an enchanted mug that keeps the drink hot for hours. And, because I typically forget them, the Artificer has their own complex recipe for hot cocoa that's brewed like espresso in a machine they invented. So, I'm not a huge hot chocolate guy. I don't know, I guess it's good enough, but I don't know, I'm not usually like chomping at the bit for hot chocolate, which is surprising because I do like sweets. Used to have they're alcoholic drinks at Christmas called, I think, Snow Bunnies. And it's just hot chocolate and peppermint schnapps. But that's a move, I'll tell you. That'd probably be what the Rogue was drinking. Hot chocolate with schnapps in it. Popularized remaking series that had a great concept but poor implementation instead of rehashing successful stories. That's a good idea. Yeah, scalding hot for the Barbarian. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the Barbarian like wouldn't even wait for a glass. He would just drink it out of the pot, like off the fire. Warlock needs to share 90% with Patron. Druid one sounds pretty good. Goat milk cocoa is the worst thing I can imagine. Druid and Ranger adding some cinnamon. Yeah, I thought about that. Like any of the kind of like earthy herbal spices and stuff. Hey, Randy, you're not late if you're here. That's the rule. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Katz is already on it. Well, oat milk. I think the Druid had oat milk and the Ranger had goat milk. Peppermint schnapps and I have a history. Oh man. Yeah, but I thought that was cool too with the Artificer. Like they have sort of like a Rube Goldberg machine almost that they just like have with them. Just like way too much going on. Just have their little homunculi building them out. Hot chocolate. And it's like an espresso type thing. It's all about efficiency. It's like super concentrated. It's just like, oh yeah, just this in this little shot glass I've actually got two cups worth of hot cocoa just in this quick shot. Fresh raw goat's milk is so much better than a gallon of cow's milk. Store-bought goat milk is trash. Well, I don't know about all that. I'm not even that big of a milk fan in general unless it's with cereal. The Artificer built the hot cocoa machine in the sleigh from the Santa Claus. Oh yeah, that's true. I remember that. Man, I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. I actually just saw a clip of like, it must be like Santa Claus Part 5 now. Yeah. Goat milk fudge. Not familiar. Well, at any rate, it was a fun exercise to go through all of the hot chocolate and imagining all of these different party members enjoying it in their own way. All right. So, got an answer for that one. Thanks for that one, Chris. The next question is from Eric. Oh, and this is relevant to something that's happening in my personal life at the moment. So, Eric asks, hello, Bard. In the last episode, you recommended people play Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the one. I've tried playing the game once or twice, but just couldn't get into it. Can you explain what makes it so enjoyable? Oh, I would be delighted to. Maybe I should give it another shot. Thanks, and have a happy new year. Thank you for the question, Eric. I'm glad that you reached out to me about this because this is actually kind of common. I have heard from more than one of my friends that they couldn't get into it. And I think even River said to me recently that it hadn't clicked with him until he tried doing it again, I guess. And I think I was that way too. Honestly, the only reason that I got into it is because a couple years ago, I was really, really sick. And I couldn't do anything. So I just played Red Dead. I'd never played it. And okay, well, hold on. I wrote something about it. So let's do that. So Happy New Year to you as well. Red Dead Redemption 2. How do I love let me count the ways. The short answer is that it's Grand Theft Auto in the Old West. So you take on the role of Arthur Morgan, a member of the Vanderlyn gang. You embark on tons of adventures from train robbing to bank robbing, horse thieving, bounty hunting, fishing, drinking, shooting, smoking, running from the law. Hey, Rockstar, if you want to hire me to write copy, I got you. There's a wealth of cool side missions, but the game's main storyline is really rich, and I'm actually enjoying it more in my second playthrough. As far as your resistance to it, or it might not clicking, I will admit the beginning is kind of slow and tedious. The stuff in the mountains, and even like when you first get down into Valentine, it can be like a little boring because you're still technically like figuring out all the stuff you can do. But well, I'm telling you, once you stick up a few stagecoaches, get into a few gunfights, it starts picking up. It's kind of like a TV show in that way, like in the first season of like Game of Thrones, right? It kind of drags, but once it picks up, it gets good. And unlike Game of Thrones, Red Dead Redemption 2 stays good until the end. So I highly recommend it to any gamers out there. I have more than one friend. Yeah, like I said, I have more than one friend that was kind of on the fence about the game, but recently they've gotten into it. So yeah, I would say just give it another shot. Some of the stuff in the beginning is like really. I remember even thinking the first playthrough like, this is kind of boring. But once you get over that hump of like, once you get out of the mountains and you get down into Valentine, and there are segments of the game where you're kind of railroaded, right? But you'll find that as you play, there are tons of moments where you just have free time throughout, which is really nice. And, you know, kind of similar to Grand Theft Auto in that way, where it's like you can continue the story on as you want to. In the beginning, for like the first hour or so, you're kind of locked into doing whatever you're doing. You don't have a lot of like freedom. So I think once you get past that stuff, then you'll be good. Then it gets really good and fun and enjoyable. RDR2, you have to leave the snow. Yeah, definitely. River said it took me 3 playthroughs until it clicked. Only reason I got into it was because of your adopted son. Mission where Jack goes missing. There's a lot of great stuff in there. That's the thing, too. Like, I meant that about, I do think that the storyline is really rich. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do on the side, which as a result, like, in a way, it kind of changes your experience through the game. You know, because you can, the decisions you make and the things that happen around you, I think, can change the outcome of things. Unlike GTA, feel nothing when I crash my car, but when I wreck, oh my gosh, dude. When I crash the horse, and I tell you, I do it often. It is never fun. I always hate it. It's always so just like violent. And I'm like flipping over the whole front of him and landing on my back. And then I feel bad for the horse. It's a mess. Some of the horse physics are. Game's attraction for me is based on genre. If you like Westerns, you will probably like it. If you don't like Westerns. Yeah. Yeah, that could be. You know, Fallout 3 never clicked for me. A lot of the Fallout games never really Never really clicked for me. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that could easily be adapted into an actual TTRPG campaign. Yeah, you know what else, dude? It could be a sick film or series. Probably better as a series. But, dude, you could do like 3 or 4 seasons of that. That would be such a dope show. But again, it's like we were talking about with Labyrinth. You'd have to do it right. I think you would have to get, we've talked about that, I think, before. Like, Rockstar owns that property, and they've got it on heavy lock and key, and I don't blame them, because it's incredible storytelling. And I think that either Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2 could easily exist as a series. Stream it on HBO or Netflix, and it would be so cool. I would love that. Half the reason I like 1923 is that there's stuff in it that reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2. Getting good when you can finally upgrade. Stock up on horse meds. Yeah, because, like, once you're able to actually, like, go out of the camp on your own and, like, go to the gun store and go to the general store and go to the stable and customize stuff, that's when you start, I think, really enjoying it. And that's like a good hour and a half in. So you do kind of have to trudge through the beginning, because the beginning also kind of serves as a tutorial, like with just, like I said, the game just kind of showing you all the things that you can do. Write the script. I can't even finish scripts I'm supposed to finish. Not sure if it was Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead Redemption 2, but the Ash outfit from Evil Dead. I don't remember. Random encounters from point A to point B are incredible. Yeah, they're everywhere, dude. That's another thing that I've realized on my second playthrough. Because I feel like on my first playthrough, I was just like heavy focused on story. Like, I just want to finish the story. And then it wasn't until like the epilogue that I did a lot of the side stuff. And I guess I've been kind of putting them off this time too. Although I've probably done more just naturally. Sometimes I'll just like deal with whatever it is. If I'm passing by a stranger and they're yelling at me or something, and it's just like a quick deal. But I don't know. Some stuff's more complicated than others. There's some things where I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to get involved in this. This is going to take too much time. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Check it out. It's good. It's big fun. All right, let's keep rolling, because we've got 4 more questions, and then we do want to leave a little time for chat. So thank you for the question, Eric. Keep playing it. You'll get into it. The next question of the evening is from David, and David asks, howdy, Chaz. You talk a lot about AI, and I know you recently earned your A+ certification. Congrats, by the way. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Google's new Willow quantum chip? What do you think this means for computing and tech in general? Thank you for the question, David. Yeah, this is interesting news and stuff going on. And I should also point out, like, yes, Google has a new quantum chip named Willow. There are probably a couple of them throughout the globe that are going to likely be competing for commercial space in the next decade or so. But there's a lot of stuff going on with quantum computing. So I think that the first thing we're going to see is going to be a drastic change in security. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to get into computer security and like network security in the first place. Because if you have quantum computing capabilities, something like encryption, at least as we know it now, will eventually be useless, right? Because like pretty soon most industries are going to require some sort of quantum resistant cryptographic system, because even just like with how complex our encryption systems currently are, if quantum chips truly have this capability to do this problem solving this quickly, then it's going to be able to hack pretty much anything in a matter of minutes. So that's going to be a thing. Quantum quantum security. So that's number one, because, companies, they're going to have to build out entirely new infrastructures to address that concern. So that'll be a new thing. Beyond that, I suspect that within the next decade or two, that we're going to have tons of new scientific advancements with things like medicine and manufacturing. Willow specifically is touted as being able to error correct in real time and do so exponentially as qubits increase, which is kind of crazy. All that's to say, we're going to see a lot of technological and scientific breakthroughs, I think, in the next few decades. And to be clear, I don't think we're going to see these chips commercially available for quite a while. But also, you never know. Like, Willow might be able to just tell us how to make it affordable, and it'll be ready by next summer. Who knows? But yeah, I think that a lot of things are going to change, and I think that they're going to change drastically. And I think that something like quantum computing is like, you want to talk about a learning computer. Like, that's going to be able, we're going to be able to crunch like all the world's mysteries and problems. Skynet by 2035. That's optimistic of you. I was thinking 2028. I don't think it's going to be that far off once things start going, Once that first domino falls, it's just going to be, I think about that when it comes to like replacement for jobs. There's all this debate about like jobs and outsourcing and sending jobs elsewhere or bringing jobs here. And it's like, I don't think any of that's going to matter within a couple of years, because it isn't going to matter where you go. The cheapest labor is going to be automation. So, and there will probably be an explosion of companies that are like, what about this? Hey, automate this? What about this tool? Hey, here's a program that does this. You need a program for this? And security, I think, is going to be at the top of that list. See what people are saying. Quantum computers, AI, screams the plot from Halo with Cortana going rampant. Yes. 50 years before we see something like Soul Killer. Maybe a quantum computer could actually find the end to pi. Maybe. The only trouble is, it's like, how do we know if that's accurate? Because that's the thing about it solving the other problem, right? Like, that was originally, when the story broke, it was like, Google's quantum chip Willow solves a problem that would normally take 10 septrillion years in 5 minutes. And it's like, cool, but also we don't have a way of verifying that, because it would take 10 septillion years to solve it. So we don't know. Given how fast they can learn, I don't think we're ready for what's coming. No way, dude. People are clueless. People are like actually yelling at each other online about like stuff like, I don't know, immigration. And it's like, hey guys, they're going to replace all of us with robots. And it isn't going to matter where you're from or any of that stuff, because we're all going to be replaced by robots. So it's what worries me with AI. Do data entry, and AI could easily take over. Yeah, and anything that it can't already easily do, it will soon. They're working on it currently as we speak about it. Could the quantum computer give us the question, the answer 42? Yeah. Well, we don't understand the full context. We're in the same kind of boat as the Hitchhiker's Guide. It's like, yeah, we asked this super duper computer this question and it gave us the answer. Well, we don't really know what that answer means in the context of understanding it, because we don't have the time necessary for that. We just assume that the computer can just do it. Ooh, we were already replaced by robots. Hey, I might buy that. My ears are perked at that theory, because I gotta tell you, things are more and more simulation type stuff happens, the more I pay attention to it. A well-aimed solar flare, and we're back to the Stone Age. Yeah. Or just an asteroid. Or You know, my buddy Cody, who's super into computers, he is of the belief that World War III will be fought with technology. And I tend to agree, but I worry about that stuff. I wonder about, like, man, if so many of our systems are reliant on the internet, and now we have quantum chips, what's to stop, like, a super powerful entity, or I should say a super wealthy entity, right? Because money, you can do anything, from just, like, shutting entire nations down when it comes to water and electricity and stuff. Certainly with internet. I don't know. Not to be, like, doom and gloom, but something to think about. A computer the size of a planet with organic life is part of its matrix. Who could possibly need such a thing? Problem with AI is it's being developed to make money, not improve humanity's life. No one has jobs, economy crashes, and then things might change for the better. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that they kind of did. There was a window, I think, of time, like during COVID, when people were, like, at home and locked down and, like, getting checks, where I remember thinking, like, is this going to be the future for mankind? Because, like, we can't all have jobs. I mean, the more AI that gets involved, the less real humans there are across the board. So what do you do with all those humans? And what do those humans do with their time? And where do they derive their sense of self? Because so many people do it with their career. It's just some hard questions we're going to have to answer in the coming years. Saw that a company is making humanoid AI robots to do household chores that could be controlled remotely. Horrible idea all the way around. Yeah, it'll be, people will definitely think twice about that, like the first time one of them attacks somebody, even if it's by accident. They'll be like, oh, this is a liability. This is scary stuff. We're living in the future, folks. It's just what it is. All right, let's keep going, because we've got 3 more questions, and then we'll do some chat. Thank you for the question, David. Yeah, I do always like chatting about AI, and yeah, I think the quantum computing stuff is wild, and I think that it's only going to get wilder. Okay, so the next question of the evening is from Anne. And Anne asks, hello, DM Bard. I have a would you rather question for you in chat, but this one might have real-life consequences because my party and I are split on which way to go / how to finish the campaign. It's the final boss fight, and we can go about it 2 different ways. We can fight the big bad on a black sand beach near an active volcano, or on the top of a mountain in a violent storm. We've gone back and forth on the tactical pros and cons for each. At this point, it's more of a debate about the aesthetic. What do you think? Happy New Year. Thank you for the question. And first of all, props to your DM for giving you that kind of agency, especially like with the BBEG. That's pretty cool. So, okay, both of these seem to be pretty high risk, pretty high reward for like a final fight, right? So like on the beach, you've got the chance of throwing this big bad into an active volcano, which is pretty epic. Then again, in this scenario, you've given the DM a volcano, so they can just decide when and how that explodes, and with what frequency. Not to mention, you or one of your party members could end up falling into the volcano. That's something I would do. On the other hand, a stormy fight on a mountaintop sounds pretty epic. You do run the risk of falling, but you also have the chance of throwing the big bad off the top of the mountain, which is also pretty rad. It's also slightly more convoluted on the mountain, I think, because in the beach scenario, you really only have to worry about the BBEG and the volcano. But in the mountain, you've got the big bad, you've got gravity, the mountain itself that you're prisoner to, and then the storms, which again can be anything the DM wants: wind, hail, blizzards, lightning, etc. I think overall the mountain sounds cooler. It's a bit more dangerous, but it's also a bit more cinematic in like an epic fantasy sense. If I were DMing that and your party knocked the big bad off the mountain, I would have them get hit with a bolt of lightning on the way down. Just get cooked. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I'm a vote for the mountain. Let's see. And it seems like chat is like all on the other side. I say beach fight with an active volcano. On the top of an active volcano during a violent black sandstorm. I vote for Black Sand Beach. Look for a quicksand trap to ensnare the BBEG in. Like a volcanic quicksand trap? Well, lava quicksand. My vote always goes to volcanoes. Wow, I'm actually surprised at this. Joe versus the volcano situation. Stormy fight sounds more like Swerve's trek through the mountains in Lord of the Rings. Mountaintop, make the sacrifice to tackle the BBEG and return next game as the bigger BEG. Yeah, could do that. Fallout's fails, get close to the BBEG and put a bag of holding inside another bag of holding. That's true. Well, it doesn't matter where you are if you do that, dude. Why couldn't the mountain storm become the volcano beach? That's true. You know, it could be a situation where mid-combat in the mountain, part of the mountain collapses, you land in the water, and then you get washed up onto the beach. Could do both. That's typically where I go with those kind of would-you-rathers anyway, is to why not both. But I was confident in my mountain answer. But now you guys have got me second-guessing everything. I think ultimately it's up to you and your party, and so we may not have been helpful. But I will say this. Overwhelmingly, people in chat were about the Black Sand Beach, the volcano. So, something there. Something valuable there. Black Sand Beach, find a beach cabana, have drinks with a big bad, settle your problems into the dance party. Plot twist, the mountain turns out to be a volcano. Get both. Actually, beach is easier to guarantee a kill. BBEG could fall off the mountain and you could double tap the body. You can't double tap the body to make sure. According to storyline rules, they're not dead if you don't have a body. That's a good point. I also wonder, well, you'd run the case of losing the loot both ways, whether you threw him off a mountain or dropped him into a volcano. Although one would assume that being dropped into an active volcano would ensure their death, but I don't know. You don't know. Depends on the rules. All right. Well, thank you for the question, and best of luck in deciding which one you want to do there. We have 2 more questions for the evening, and then we'll do some chat. I've got some stats, too, that I wanted to go over that are pretty cool. So this next question is from Chris. Yep. And Chris asks, this might be more personal than you're willing to share on the pod, but if you're open to answering it, I'm curious. Are you taking a break from Mann shorts due to the decline in income or growth? A mixture of both? Or even just a need to recharge and reshape your creative flow? Thank you for the question, Chris. I don't find that question to be too personal, and it's kind of all of those things. So, from the financial side, you know, after YouTube changed their algorithm to focus on promoting shorts, we saw a pretty substantial drop in just the number of brand deals in general pretty immediately. And then the brand deals that were coming in were offering a lot less. We started seeing kind of a hefty viewership drop-off. I confirmed with Google that this is mostly due to the majority of people who watch our content, if they do subscribe, they don't have notifications turned on, and because of that, our channel is not prioritized in that person's algorithm, because that's just how YouTube does it. So the money and the growth kind of go hand in hand, right? Like I've said before, like one of the most common comments I get from people is like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys were still making stuff," and it's like, "Yep, we never stopped, but we probably did to you for whatever algorithm reason, change, notification thing, whatever." As far as recharging and reshaping my creative flow, that's definitely a component in our decision. I think Justin and I have both been kind of bored with the episodes for a while. It's not that they're not enjoyable or that they're fun to make. It's just that it's become so formulaic over the years, and we've done so many, and there's not much of a challenge or a push in it. It just kind of feels like, oh, it's just like another thing you have to do. We tried some other things over the years. They didn't really work. Knowing me, I'll always be trying new stuff. Justin and I want to make a feature. And, we say that all the time. But I think we actually might next year, so I look forward to that. I'm always working on music, whether human or AI or both. I'm not really sure what my next move is, like artistically. I plan on continuing artificial intelligence with song because I've been having a lot of fun doing that. But other than that, I'd love to get an opportunity to get into, some kind of a job with tech security. But, at the moment, I just need a job. Any job will do. But yeah, it's a combination of things, really. A lot of the things that you mentioned, I'd say. I think the recent drama surrounding TikTok will cause YouTube to change their algorithm and going to quit publishing shorts. I doubt it. Because I think that YouTube's algorithm shift was more about the content than the platform, right? And what I mean is, like, I don't think it was a thing where YouTube was trying to copy TikTok to be like TikTok. I think it was a thing where YouTube realized that TikTok was capitalizing on something that YouTube wasn't. And so YouTube was like, oh, well, we could do that. We could do the short attention span thing. We could do the doom scroll thing. And other platforms have followed suit trying to do it too, right? Like Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, or whatever. All of them just trying to capture that same kind of magic of, like, captivation that the TikTok algorithm has. Part of it's just because, you're flipping and similar to, like, on Netflix, they joke. We used to joke all the time, and it's true about how you spend more time looking for something to watch than you do watching something. It's like, yeah, that's on purpose. So just because a body is destroyed in front of you doesn't mean the spirit can be transferred to another. Whoa, what? You're burnt out on doing the same thing is understandable. Yeah, it's just over time. Thinking about transitioning to YouTube more than TikTok. Who knows? And I don't know what's going to happen with TikTok either. Shorts get the same marketing income with less streaming costs. Exactly. And less production cost in general, right? Like from making it. Like some of the more successful streamers actually have gotten big from their shorts. Because what they'll do is either they themselves or their team or their fans or their viewers will make short clips. And really, Twitch started doing that, making the clips years ago. And so what it is now is you just take that clip, you just run it on TikTok, and then it gets like, 50 million views on TikTok, and now you have a couple of thousand more followers and subscribers to your streaming content because of the clips. And so that just adds a whole nother layer of marketing that I just don't have time to deal with. So that's another thing entirely. Watch some shorts, but I really like the long form better. Yeah, and it also depends on what you're watching and what the generation you're from and like what kind of stuff you like to consume. Because most of the stuff that I like to consume is long form, but I will do some scrolling on TikTok. I'll tell you. My wife will tell you all about it. I get stuck on there. Alrighty. So. Wow. Are we still going? Did I lose connection? Seems like I lost connection. Maybe my there's no way for me to know. I guess if I'm still on. Because I can't see myself. Maybe I can pull up my phone and see. That's a little disappointing. Oh, well, yeah, I guess I'm still live. I just, guess this is a Firefox problem. Wow, that's really unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the tech goblins don't want it to end. Yo, for real though, this is kind of alarming. Is it just a Firefox problem or what? Oh my god, why is it eating so much of my memory? Yeah. I guess I'll just have to go in here and... Sorry for this. Well, hey, you know, the first episode of bardadvice was riddled with issues, and so this one can be too. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know how I'm even going to end. I don't even know how I'm going to end the stream. Because, man. Okay, well, let's just go. We'll do the last question since it's still working. And then we'll see if it ends or not, dude. I don't know if it will. All right, so the last question of the evening is from John. And John asks, hey, Chaz, usually I ask sports questions, but this one is about content. As you step away from the Man Shorts sketches and bardadvice, what is your best advice for someone getting into content creation? Are there any major things to do or avoid? Thanks for all the great material. I'll be following on Discord/TikTok, waiting for your next move. Sports Pod, have a good one. Well, thank you, John. Oh, don't tempt me. I've considered that before. So, yeah, wrote an answer for this too. I've talked about this before, but I think it's important that you really love what you do. I think over time, things will cause you to resent the thing. And by things, I'm mostly talking about money. I'm not an expert on making tons of money with making art, but I did make a pretty decent living doing it for several years. I would say that everything is relative, but the journey is the destination, which is kind of cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Because I kind of wish that I would have enjoyed the ride more when I was in it. But I think that's the case for like all things. You know, we don't really appreciate stuff until it's gone. But I think loving the thing is important. Like, I love to make people laugh and inspire them to create things. So D&D themed sketch comedy was and has been like kind of a perfect outlet. But I also think like all things have their time, like this podcast, you know, loving it makes it tougher, because if you do make a living off of it, you come to depend on that thing. You're no longer doing it solely for the love of it. Things can get weird. So I don't think that there would, you know, don't listen to anybody that tells you that anything's going to be really easy and or quick. I would say don't buy views, because, and not that I ever have, but I don't think that that's not going to get you what you want anyway, which is like some sort of a steady revenue from it. You know, anybody can just buy views, and somebody can just like set up a computer or a bunch of people in an office somewhere to just keep hitting refresh on a video. But that doesn't mean that you're actually getting those kind of views and that kind of engagement, you know? So, oh, okay. Well, here I am back at the thing. So that's good. So, be consistent and hope you get lucky. Yeah, that's a thing. Don't have your income be dependent on it. Yeah, that's a big one too. Like, even if you start making money doing it, always make your Yeah, always make your income separate from the things you love if you can. It seems counterproductive, right? Because you would think like, oh, well, I would love to get paid for what I love to do. And it's like, yeah, but then you wouldn't, because money kind of always makes things worse. Like, historically speaking, money ruins everything. So you just kind of have to accept that and, see what works for you. Don't let people tell you you're doing it wrong. Do it the way you want to. Welcome back to episode 1 of Bardadvice. Yeah. Well, we are officially in chat. So, and thankfully, the issue has been resolved with whatever the browser thing was. I don't understand why. You can't win. Google eats your CPU, and Firefox is. I feel like Firefox is like just as bad. I feel like Firefox like touts that it's not, but it's just the same. They just eat your resources. So we are in chat, and a couple of things that I wanted to do in chat are talk about statistics. So Chris did a really cool thing. Good things of the week for sure. Throw those out there for you. Good thing of the week for me was we had a great Christmas. Got to see my nephew. Got to see the new baby for the first time, which was real nice. He's very sweet. Let's see. Statistics. So while you're talking about good things of the week, Chris, another member of the Council of Chris, put together some statistics for me, which were, I thought, really, really cool to do. So he went through all of the episodes and found the names, which, as you can see, there's a breakdown of the names. And he offered me some statistics. So they're the top 10 name questioners. Well, first, let's say this. It's been 108 hours and 44 minutes of podcast. 638 questions answered. Of those, 148 were from Chris, 25 from John, 18 from Amanda, 18 from River, 11 from Mike, 10 from Sarah, 9 from Trevor, 7 from Mark, 7 from Stacy, and 4 each from Aaron, James, Jay, and Jen. So those are the top questioners. Chris with clearly quite a large chunk of the pie there. Also, other statistical info just about like the topics as far as the questions that were asked and stuff that was talked about, which I think is really cool. That actually makes me happy to see that the lion's share of it was about gaming, because ultimately that was what the pod was about in general. But then also a good chunk about just life in general, which is pretty cool. And then music production and sports talk, which sounds like a pretty accurate breakdown of what goes on the podcast. There have been 85 art corners, 6 news corners, 1 bard corner, 1 capitalist corner, 561 one-slide questions, 65 two-slides questions, 7 three-slides questions, and 2 four-slides questions. And as far as topics, 76 questions about DMing, 46 about character creation, 23 about class, which is which class is what candy and stuff, 16 about party disagreements, 10 about the Jags and 0 championships things, 4 about Olympics, 30 follow-up questions, 4 Christmas episodes, 1 Discord channel, and infinite false hydras. Because that's how it goes. Lots of Chris. So that's cool. That was a really cool thing to see. Stream just cut out. Don't worry, that happened for me. Good thing of the week, you're on vacation till the 6th. Nice. Video idea sent off the D&D videos. Get the Manchworks crew together to read comments for each of your favorite episodes. That might be fun. Yeah, we've talked about doing stuff like that before, where it's like we do like Man Shorts watches Man Shorts or something. Got to see your son light up at Christmas for the first time, so happy to see the Tonka truck Santa sent for him. That's awesome. So yeah, that is a really cool. Yeah, it was very nice of Chris to do that. It's like a Spotify Wrapped for Bardadvice. I think it's very cool. And I also got sent a special Bard Go card I need to fill. Oh, yeah. What was that about? How do I fill this? What do you mean I gotta fill it? Oh, wow. This is really cool. Oh, so this is the Bard Go. I didn't even see this before. So, survive 2 Thanksgivings. Well, that's true. So these are all the things that we've done for Bard Go, for bardadvice. Answer Chris 148 times. Did that. Survive the Olympics. Helped at least 76 DMs. Finished Baldur's Gate 3 twice. That's true. Dealt with Pirate 100 times. This is true. Made 2 albums. Well, I guess I have made 2 albums in this time. Survived 2 Christmases. Promoted false hydro awareness on a regular basis. Start 100 episodes. Same Bard time 99 times. Oh, that's sad. Survived OGL. 100 starting size free. That's true. We did do that. Answer 638 questions. Pass certification. Survived 2 Halloweens. Speak for over 100 hours. I probably did that before I was 10. End 100 episodes. Still a Jags fan. Technically, I haven't ended this one yet. Nearly killed a car. I don't remember that. Did that happen on here? Read 720 slides. Survived 2 New Years. Uncover the Council of Chris. Survived 1 election. And 85 art corners. So that's Bard Go. Indeed, right? That's pretty good. Your Chrome crashed a while ago. Oh, that's true. Yeah, car issues. Yeah, that's always kind of like that's always going on. Can't believe the show's coming to an end. I hope you made some guest appearances on the Rogue Advice show. Oh yeah, no doubt. I'll definitely check in, and I'll be hooked in on the Discord as well. Oh, and I didn't go over the words of the year, so let's do that too before we go. So that's on the statistics page. So these are the words of the year. By the way, I picked number 14, so the word that I got was resolve. I really should have numbered them on here, but I'll just go through them. If you remember your numbers from before, this is in order. So 1 is nurture, 2 is confident, 3 is optimistic, 4 is satisfied, 5 is sympathetic, 6 is appreciative, 7 is hopeful, 8 is generous, 9 is kind, 10 is virtuous, 11 is achievement, 12 is bravery, 13 is patience, 14 is resolve, 15 is wise, 16 is integrity, 17 is spontaneous, 18 is abundance, 19 is imaginative, and 20 is motivated. So, if you remember your numbers from before, that is the list of what you've got. So, yeah, I try to each year, my mom and I do those. And like I said, I got resolve this year. My wife got confident. So, I would suggest to people too, like once you have your word, look it up, look up the definition, decide kind of what it means to you, I guess, and then kind of see, it might not necessarily mean what your initial reaction is. It might not mean, and it might not be something that you need. It might be something that you already have and that you're good at. It's, you can kind of interpret it however you want to. It's like an astrology sign. What do they call it? It's an astrology reading. That's what it is. Okay. Also, before we go, I just wanted to say a few things. I started this podcast because I wanted people, specifically fans of the show and like our other work, to have the opportunity to get to know me on a more personal level. Because I think a lot of times there's this weird miasma, this like level of separation between the artist and the people. And I like to remove that as much as possible because like it's important for me that people know that I'm just like a regular dude. And also, use it as a way to kind of pay my success forward to people as far as offering advice or inspiration, encouragement, etc. And I feel like I've accomplished that. I feel good about it. We've done 100 hours of this show. So, that's what it is. 100 hours of advice. So, and just like a final thought, like, don't stop dreaming. Which is like super cliche, but it's true. I think, you know, in all aspects of your life, try to be hopeful and work hard, be nice to people, just do the best you can, etc. I'll miss doing it, but you've not heard the last of me yet, for sure. And we've got the Discord, like I said. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a thing where, like, in a couple of months, I decide to, like, start it back up. I don't know. I don't ever want to say. I'm a person who doesn't like to say never. But for now, we'll have to say it's not goodbye. It's see you later, right? So, before we get out of here, remind everybody of the website, manshorts.com. You can get merch there. You can go over to crackendice.com, get yourself some dice. You can contribute to what I do musically via PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, all of which are Yazik, Yahzik. This will be the last episode of bardadvice. I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend and an even better week and an even better new year. Thank you all again for all the love over the years. Join the Discord and take care of yourselves.